Hi, this is Cousin Russ. I thought I would uh, try to show how I cite a printed book. So we're gonna walk through the steps that I use for citing a printed book, and I have a printed book in front of me with some information on one of my ancestors. So let's go over to Family Tree Maker, as I usually do, and this is the plan workspace, and which is where we go when we normally open the program. I'm going to click on the people workspace and the tree view and go to my grandmother, and I'm going to pick the person workspace for my grandmother. Now when I enter here, I enters with her notes, which is fine, but I'm not seeing the book that I cited, that I want to cite. I'm going to go to my research notes because I have bolded this line right here that said I got information from this book, chapter 5, page 85, number 338. Now, there's no information from that book on the notes section for my grandmother. I happen to know that this book, anybody with a number in front of their name is a direct line of the Strode family in this book. So she was not a Strode, but her husband was. So when I go into her husband, my grandfather's notes page, this is the text in the notes that was taken from that book. So now we want to cite that book for my file. So I'll come back to the screen in a minute. So we're going to go over to the sources workspace, and I have the book is already in my file, and because I cited this already, but I want to show you how I did it. And this is the entry we're going to talk about. Now I want all of my sources using the template feature, and I selected the printed book source within Family Tree Maker, source template, and it will open this screen. It will create the screen that says book, basic format, printed publication, which is what this book is. And there's a bunch of fields here that Family Tree Maker gives to me. But how do I fill that out? Well, I mentioned in an earlier video that I use Evernote for a lot of information. And what I did was decided what I wanted to capture in the printed book, data to the collection, entered the text from the book to be included in the person notes field. And I showed you that, and I'll go back to it again. Bold text in notes that are entered into facts. Copy reference notes from the citation screen, paste a reference note at the end of the section of the notes. So that's what I'm going to do. And the source template is books, basic format, printed edition. In evidence explained, that's in quick check model on page 646. Within evidence explained, paragraph 12.6 on page 666. Now these are the fields that Family Tree Maker showed me, and I'll go back to that screen in a minute. You will notice that I have two lines that I have red lined through. In the basic book format, it does not call for a source repository, nor does it call for a call number within evidence explained. Family Tree Maker has given me those fields if I want to use them, but I want to try to be evidence explained compliant, and there's a field for comments. Now in the two fields that I'll have to work with, which I'll show you in a minute, I can enter the specific page number or numbers that I consulted and enter pertinent text from the source and or an explanation of the relevance of that data for my research. I'm not going to attach any media files, so I don't have to worry about media and the media caption, which I do with other sources. Now, I use the same kind of format for all of the records that I use. Now, as I was doing this, I wanted to I didn't have to remember how I did stuff, so I created a note in evident in Evernote of how I wanted to handle this book that I'm talking about. And the red stuff is my notes. And that's the name of the book and the title. And you'll see the bolded stuff. And I have a note that says, facts are bold. So if I use this name for a fact, it will be bolded. So anything that's bolded will be turned into a fact. And there's some other information when we go back to see the actual entry, this will make sense. And there is a citation that will come out. And here's the entry that I put into the research log. So the next time I come back and work on that book, and I got a whole stack of people in that book. So if I come back, I know exactly what I'm going to do and how to handle this book. So here we're back in Family Tree Maker, and this is the source template screen. And there's the author's surname, the author's forename. He doesn't have any credentials, and he was the only author. There's the title, main title of the book. There was no subtitle on this book. And the publisher, the publisher's place, and the year of publication. There's a place where you could put a repository, but books, Evidence Explained, do not call for a repository. And this didn't used to be in earlier versions of this template, but was re-added, I believe, sometime in Family Tree Maker 2014, and a call number. Now, anytime I create a source, I make notes and comments of the stuff that I want to put into the citation screen. So I will copy that information, and just for a demonstration purpose, I'm going to go ahead and copy, because that's the hints of what I want to capture and put in these two screens. So I would normally, and I will go ahead and paste it in after this so you can see. So there's the two bits of information. I put a space between them because there's the page number. Because I've been consistent about doing that, I will put the page number in the citation detail field, which I did. So I'm going to get rid of that. Then I would copy and paste this down here. And this is the number that's in the book, the full name. And I've added updated date, month, year. So I know when I last worked on that book. Now the book's not going to change, but I may relook at the data that I have. So there's the citation detail, there's the citation text, there's the reference note. Now, if I want to put the citation note into the notes field, I'm going to right-click on the reference note field, select all, then I'll right-click again and hit copy. So I now have this citation in my clipboard on my computer, and here are all the facts that I picked up from this small paragraph in this book. So I picked up those facts. Now I'm going to go back over here to the people workspace and the notes for my grandfather, and you'll see that there is the bolded stuff, and that's in the name of the book. And so each of these entries are now facts. So as I work through this page, I would put it up here. There's his name. As it's in the book is down here. And there is the citation. You saw as I hovered over the citation that the pop-up window gives me what the citation is. So that's it. And so that's his name. And as I was going through each of these facts, that I would bold it and put the citation onto the fact that I used. Now, this created a very interesting thing, which conflicting information. This book said that they were married in Waltham, Massachusetts on June 24th, 1915. Well, that location is not correct. I know that my grandmother was born in Waltham, Mass, but they were not married there. The book says they were. I have other documentation that proves that, which I won't go into this time, but it did create me conflicting information. And in the book, there were some handwritten notes. Now, I think I know who wrote them, but this will mean that I need to do some other work, which I've already done. But I made a note here that there's some notations in the book, and it gives me some information about in the notes. Now, you'll notice the book up here says there was not a year in the book as it was printed. And the pencil note said that she was born February 7th, 1887. And there were some other notes. Now, this is that reference note that I have in my clipboard that I want linked right under this information. So I look in the notes section and I can see where this information came from. I'm consistent in putting the citation at the end of that particular set of notes. So if I had 5 different notes in there, each would have a different citation, but I put the citation at the end of the notes. Now, because I have this conflicting information of where they were married, I just made a note that says proven not married in Waltham, but in Westchester, Pennsylvania. So that is how I handle a printed book, citing a printed book. And I thought I would share that with you, and we'll go from there. Okay, thank you. Have a great day.